Hey everyone, uh, welcome to Dice on Ice. I'm Megan, and tonight we will be playing a game in Dice on Ice's homebrew setting of Crifoth. Right now it is in playtesting, so we're going to be playtesting some of the mechanics as well as hopefully playing out a really, really cool story. For those of you who don't know what Crifoth is, I'm going to give a bit of an introduction. I'm going to kind of introduce who these people are, or what they are, and then we'll get right into it. Crifoth was once home to the great kingdom of Osland, a kingdom of splendor, great magic, and vast metropolises. Archmages unraveled the fundament of the world atop their lofty towers, and marketplaces bustled with wealthy commerce. But now, a century since its fall, little remains to hint at Osland's glory. Pastures turned to badlands, cities turned to rubble. The eruption of Mount Kest extinguished the vast majority of life and buried Osland beneath the molten earth. This eruption was not spontaneous. It was the result of something more sinister. A foolish mistake made by King Elaine Lothair of Osland brought a fiendish evil into the world. A desperate bargain brought the kingdom to its knees. King Elaine, desperate to win his war against the dwarves, was manipulated and invited an archfiend into the mortal world. This archfiend, Burperos, wrought destruction on the land. His vile presence snuffed out all life and corrupted everything it touched. Tidal waves, earthquakes, and the eruption of Mount Kest sealed Osland's fate. This was the fall of humanity. Evil had won. A century of torment, carnage, and bleakness passed. Burperos and his fiendish minions established strongholds as they carved their way across the landscape. For most, the only refuge was to flee into the sands to the south, just beyond the archfiend's grasp. For others, it was submission to his rule, in hopes that he would spare their lives. But in the end, no one on Crifoth can escape the grasp of Burperos. On Crifoth, it is courage just to survive. But not all submitted to the way of the world. A select few rose up, emblazoned with hope and vengeance, the Blood Knights, a group of tieflings wielding both magic and sword against the demonic rule. Those who would do anything to ensure defeat of the archfiends. Tonight we are brought to 4 of these Blood Knights, veterans in their trade, having completed many missions and have set out on yet another. Will this be the one that claims their lives? So, the camera kind of comes in on the 4 of you. You're crouched atop a building, crumbling and dilapidated, but just sturdy enough to hold you. It has taken you about a day from when you set out from your hideout to get to the stronghold called Malice. As you 4 are crouched, you peer over the ledge. Beyond is a horrific sight. You see rows and rows, hundreds and hundreds of slaves, humans, shackled by the necks and hands, connected to each other, walking in a straight line, almost as if they accumulated together to create this huge writhing beast. If one gets out of line, you hear the crack of a whip as a legionary puts them back into their place. You hear the cries of the slaves, the yelling of tiefling legionaries. You smell sulfur, brimstone, and the acrid stench of the affliction. Carrion, you remember what your Cruor captain told you about this mission. There are 4 initiate blood knights who went and got themselves captured. Intelligence says that they were taken to this stronghold in a building that you recognize as one just east of you. They're not sure whether the Blood Knights have said anything, and they don't know much, thankfully, but what they do know could mean a lot of lives lost for the Blood Knights if they were to reveal their hideouts. Your job is to save them, because a body, a trained body, is worth quite a bit in Crifoth. But you remember your captain pausing and looking at you with a solemn look, saying, "But the most important thing is that they will not be able to speak, to say anything else." And Exsanguinate, you feel the clink of a vial in your satchel. And you know you and the 3 others have the same vial in their satchel, or in their case. Most people back home or in your hideout call it last resort. You know that it is something that you once consumed. It ensures no information can ever be taken from you again, even once it kills you. Tell me, Rain, what is going through your mind as you kind of see this sight before you, this gruesomeness? Yeah, Tyler.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. It sounded like something rain. I'm like, I think that's me. Tal would be looking at these men and women and people, just people, who are being led, whipped, beaten, bloodied, bruised. And he just slowly shakes his head. Anyone that knows Tal knows that he might be one of a few people who still believe that the gods listen. And as he watches this, which he's seen many times, not for the first time, his faith is shaken a little bit. Because how could a god who believes and loves these people, or supposedly does, allow such a thing to happen? And he watches them get whipped and bloodied. I imagine there's small children in the line too. And he just slowly shakes his head. He pulls what looks like a bone, a finger bone, a long finger bone from his pocket. You know that this is something that he always carries with him, something important that he calls the loci. Different segmented pieces of it that rotate with simple runes and sigils on them. And he kind of rolls it in his hand, getting that little bit of comfort, knowing that through it, with his touch, he can maybe make a difference here.
And Ashmodel, you hear the sound of a caw. And just to the right of where you guys are kind of crouched, you see a black shape land on the side of the building. A scarbird. And it kind of looks at you sideways with its piercing eyes and kind of cocks its head a little bit. You have heard rumors that these are spies for the archfiends. But trying to shoo it away on a rumor may give away your position. What do you do?
On the off chance that the rumor is true, their position's already given away. So she would hold her hand out to the side, and a small click is heard as dust comes off of a gauntlet and forms in her hand a short sword. And she points it at the scarbird and it tells it, "Go, fly away. Tell whoever you wish that we are here. It will not matter."
And the bird kind of cocks its head at you and begins to preen its feathers. And I think by this time, the rest of you notice this as well, so you can react however you wish.
This is the size of a normal size bird?
Yeah, like a normal size raven.
Carrion would cock her head sideways at it, and then to the other direction, looking at Ashmodel, trying to shoo it away. And then would make a gesture with her hand, a closed fist that opens toward it, uttering a word, Asheth, as a ghostly skeletal hand would emerge next to this bird and attempt to grab it. And I'm casting Chill Touch.
Okay.
And that is, I have to make a ranged attack on that.
Okay.
That is an 8.
So the bird just kind of hops to the side a little bit away from your hand and doesn't seem to be bothered by really anything. But it does kind of look at you, let out a little squawk, and just kind of starts flying away.
Well, if that is a spy, then they now know we are here. Between them knowing where we are, and who knows if those Blood Knight pups have spoken yet. We must hurry.
Please, after you, White One.
And Carrion
But
would just turn back to look at the others.
Talmoraine is kind of, he's still got this bone thing in his hand, this loci, and he looks up at you and looks at the bird. When he was looking at the bird before, did he see any intelligence that it shouldn't have had in its eyes, as if it were familiar?
You can make an insight check.
Let's start the night out strong, boys. Strong indeed. 19 on the die. That is a 23.
No, it didn't. For all intents and purposes, it just looked like a bird.
A bird.
A stupid bird who, isn't afraid of anything, but a bird.
So it's basically a pigeon, the pigeon of Crifoth.
Yes.
Okay, so I look at the rest of our assembled party. I sense no presence of the touch from the bird. It is no concern of ours. Let's proceed with caution if we proceed with anything. You just nod. I am sure of this.
How close? So we're on a rooftop and we're kind of looking down over this, and we know we need to get to a building to the east. Are there a series of rooftops, or are we kind of on these buildings like lone buildings with big spaces between them, or what's the situation?
Yeah, so what you see is you are on probably the last intact roof till you get to that building. But there are a series of alleyways and such that kind of weave through this stronghold that technically you could, if you wanted to, kind of weave in and out, it staying in the shadows, and you would get to the building. Like, there's no real open spaces. Can everyone roll me a perception? Or actually, no, never mind, not yet. So, you guys all also know that there are a series of underground tunnels. The stronghold was basically built on top of the old cities of Osland. And so there are these underground tunnels, mazes underneath the earth that you could take that would lead you to this building, you are sure. However, it is a maze. It would take you much longer than to just kind of cut through on the surface, but it's more dangerous on the surface. You are more likely to be seen, but it's quicker. And on this roof, there's a set of stairs kind of leading back down to the main level of the house.
If I had my way, we would go down and cut our way through the slavers and burst in on wherever these blood knights are. Silence them if we must, and silence their captors. And then she looks back at the others. But I suppose you want to take a more cautious route.
Ashmodel chuckles darkly. Oh, I know we do not work together often, Carrion, but you must know me better than that.
It would be foolishness to try and cut our way through them all. You know this. You do not survive this long and gain a reputation like we have by cutting your way into every fortress. This is called malice for a reason. Death is present here, as is pain and suffering, and apparently foolishness.
The old man, the old tiefling, his skin white and ashen, and his horns look like they're flaking apart at certain points. I mean, he looks old and decrepit, but he carries himself, and he hasn't, with a sense of pride and stature. He hasn't said a single thing to the others until now. Till you say the word foolishness.
I have fought much too long for freedom, not to allow for my fellow people to be free of this wretchedness. I don't care what decision 3 of you make, but be smart about it and be quick about it. I will see it done one way or another.
We are accomplishing nothing up here on the roof.
I agree.
If one of you don't make a plan, I am going to disappear from this rooftop and reappear with a resounding boom in the midst of those slavers. And all that will be left is pools of blood and bone. What will you have us do?
Then I guess our decision is made. If things get hairy, I can provide us cover for escape.
So, we are planning to attack a garrison openly.
How many slavers are down there that we can see? Are we talking like a handful or a lot?
100, 150.
Oh, slavers?
Yeah, because there's hundreds and hundreds of slaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's still got that look about her. You can see her fingers twitching, old, dried, caked blood on her long fingernails. Just twitching in that way as she prepares, thinking about casting spells.
Carrion, you know that it would be unwise. Look how many people are down there. You would risk hurting slaves and hurting the slavers. We need to be quiet about this.
As long as we survive and the Blood Knights survive, what difference does it make? You're accomplishing nothing here.
It means our survival.
And he says this as he has this large iron neck brace around his neck. It's the old slave chain that is around his neck.
You've been with me for a long time, Carrion. You've seen what Crifoth can do. I promise you, it would not be wise to just throw caution to the wind like a young pup. I'd say we take the maze. Yes, it will be difficult, but it'll be the safest route, and we can get in unscathed. Maybe we can get some of them out, run them through the back, and then do what we must.
Carrion bars her teeth at X, but it's in the way that a subdued dog does to its owner. or to its master. It knows. She knows that he is the wiser of them and will reluctantly follow.
He nods.
Good. Good.
You're a fool if you think anybody is going to emerge from this unscathed.
I know that, but I want to be the first one to draw the blood, not them.
And when the blood flows, you will all give in to your predilections. Let's be on with it then.
Tal whispers, not all. And he'd look up at the three of you. Those stories that I believe you've heard of me. Getting into Cleaver. Getting into Crucible, even, unseen. It is true. I can make it happen. If you could keep your feet light. We could approach directly. We don't need to take the tunnels and waste time. But only if you think that you have the fleet footwork that I've heard that you have.
Carrion would just lift the hem of her tattered black skirts, and you would see the dirty, jagged talons of her bare feet as she makes a point of padding silently across the rooftop.
And you too. And you look at X and Ashmodel. The way I understand it, X is pretty much, you're armored, right? Are both
He's
you
armored, but he's fairly heavily armored. But as you say this, he grins.
There is a reason that I am this old and have survived this long, young pup. You do not need to worry about me making much noise.
And he'd look over at Ashmodel then to give him a pointed look, or her a pointed look.
I am quiet enough when it counts. And as said before, if we are caught, I can make an escape route.
Then we can approach openly if you wish. I can give us the opportunity as it is.
You young ones, always wanting to get your teeth wet. Very well.
And as he does this, he takes a small vial that is underneath his neck, and he holds it in his hand for just a moment, and then he places it back underneath. And with a snap, he looks to the group and grins. And it's like his entire visage fades out like the dust on the rooftops, just gone. As he casts invisibility on himself and fades away from.
So for the rest of us then, Tal pulls this loci bone out of his pocket again. And you see him kind of bend the top, and it looks like it's going to break, but instead a cap pops off. And he pulls a vial out of his pocket of demon blood and pours it into it, and then pops the cap back on. It is more potent than normal blood, gives it better access to the touch. And you start rotating pieces on it until 4 runes all the way up along the top of it, Redem, Krekar, Bromd, and Kakebra, line it. And he pushes the cap down, And the sand and the heat begin to rise around us, coating us in a mirage as he casts his Pass Without Trace. Everyone gets +10 to their stealth checks.
Nice.
So basically, it's like the heat shimmer and the sand rising around us makes it look like there's nothing even there. It's like distorting the light.
Oh, look at you, the invisible one and the ashen one. Casting spells. I can make magic too. And she reaches into a pouch and just takes a pinch of dried, flaky demon blood, rubbing it between her fingers, holds it over her head. Halcyon. And as she starts sprinkling it over her head, it seems to fall impossibly magnifying beyond that simple pinch of dust, covering her for a moment and then fading away as she casts mage armor on herself. Because I need some AC.
Suddenly, you guys hear a scuffle coming from downstairs. You know that you were led here by a scout, a blood knight. And he was waiting downstairs as you guys went and held a lookout. And now you can hear him grunt and just, "Get over here!" And a bit of a scuffle.
It seems he's in trouble, Ashmodel will say, almost bored, as she walks towards the stairs to go down to where the scout was waiting for them.
Carrion is right behind you. She actually says that to you. Carrion is right behind you.
Referring to herself in the third person. Dope. And then Tal would turn and just follow them down the stairs, assuming that X is following somewhere. Tal's just kind of bored with the whole situation too. I mean, there's a hurriedness and a desire to his actions to get moving and to make some sort of a difference here, but he understands that planning is half the battle.
And so as you guys descend, Ashmodel, you are the first to see this. You see Ash, the lookout, standing over two figures. And as they come into view, you see that they are tieflings. A woman and what looks to be a child, maybe 7. And they are bound and gagged, sitting on the floor. And he looks to you guys who are coming down the stairs, his one eye milky. And he kind of smiles, and you can see like the front 4 top of his teeth are missing. These are legionaries. I found them lurking about, assume on their way to the barracks. They saw me, but I got them just in time. Not too much noise, I think.
Do they look like legionaries?
No. No, but you do know that many legionaries have families. And they are kept in these live-in quarters, basically tents.
This one is but a child. It cannot harm us. Not in the time that we have to get there and back.
She could go running and tell her father what she saw, and he could send an alarm, and it would get all of us. You know this.
It would get
Kids
all
are
of us
the...
-2.
Sorry?
It would get all of us -2. You seem to not be familiar with what all of us can do.
And he just kind of looks at you and then looks back to the child, and he says, well, anyway, since you're all senior knights, what would you have me do with them?
Carrion looks around, not seeing X anywhere nearby, and perhaps having the mindset of out of sight, out of mind, looks to the scout or lookout of ours and just pulls from her waistband one of her daggers. I would just as soon slit their throats. They can't speak if they're bleeding from their throat.
Tal would step between Carrion and the two legionary children, apparently. Are you a monster? Are you as bad as the archfiends? Do you not know what they have done to us, and you would do the same to them?
I do whatever I must do to survive.
Killing them is not survival. It is butchery. They can't do anything.
If they can summon the legionnaires on us, then it is our survival.
Then simply leave them here.
Then leave them, exactly. There's no need to kill innocent people. They might be the children of a legionnaire, so what? The mercy we show them here shall not go forgotten.
My name is Carrion. The death and decay. I am the famine and the pestilence. I am not forgiveness. I am not mercy. She reluctantly slips her blade back into her belt. But I am not as stupid as you look.
Tal would walk up.
I assume you tower over her. She's pretty small in stature, probably about 5'3".
Tal's like 5'8" and kind of lanky. So I mean, like, he might be taller than her, but I mean, they're probably like the same like body type almost. So he'd like walk up to her, kind of looking down at her. Your name might be Carrion, but remember that the Blood Knights stand for something more than that. We stand for the ability to carry on.
You stand for what you stand for, and I stand for what I stand for. Regardless, we have a job to do. And it is, again, not getting done.
At least
You won't let me kill them, then do what you will with them.
And I'd look over at our scout, Ash. You said his name was, right?
Mm-hmm.
You keep them here. If we return, we let them go then. You have 24 hours. If we don't return within that time, leave them here, but light a fire or something. It would not be a mercy to let them die of starvation or to die of dehydration as well.
Carrion visibly rolls her eyes.
He would look back at her.
She actually looks at while you're talking to Ash, she's kind of like standing behind you, kind of doing this, like pointing at her eyes and his eyes, and then points at the two and just says,
I guess Ash's morals will win out then if he kills them or if he just leaves them.
You all hear,
piece of crap.
You all hear a faint whisper behind you. It sounds just like the wind.
Are you pups done arguing over moral quandaries? We have more pressing matters to attend to.
He looks at the legionary family.
Everything inside of me wants to see the two of you burned alive for what your family has done to mine. But Talmarain speaks wisdom. He will be the voice of reason now. If you are here when I return, there will be a fire, and you shall be the logs.
And the woman looks at the four of you, with Ash, with such hatred and malice. And she just kind of lets out a low growl through her gag.
Silence yourself, dog. You treat me as a slave. I can treat you as one as well.
And Ash just kind of steps in. I will keep him here. You have 24 hours. And he kind of puts his fist over his chest in a solidarity that Blood Knights often show. And he just kind of bows his head slightly. I wait for your return.
Cal will just nod and turn and walk away. The heat and the sand swirling around him, slowly making him disappear. We will not need 24 hours. But wait until we return. Until he's swallowed up and made invisible, with his last words being caught in the wind. So he heads outside, if anybody else follows.
Despite her grumbling, wherever you go, Carrion is following either you or Ashmodel.
The sword in Ashmodel's hand disintegrates back into dust and travels back up her arm under her bracer. And she follows Tal out, patting Ash on the shoulder, saying, "You did good to not kill them right away."
Ash just kind of grunts and just kind of looks back towards them. So you guys are going to try and kind of move from house to house, the most direct route? You guys
I think the stealthiest route, more like. So if we have to like, kind of loop off to the side a little bit, like we will, like slipping down between ravines and like little hills of dust and like sand if we need to. But just I think we're just trying to approach as quickly as possible, but as stealthily as possible too. A happy medium between the two. Does everybody else agree, or do you want to just take direct?
No, I think being as silent and stealthy as we can makes more sense.
Okay, I'm going to need everyone to make a stealth check, please.
That is so good. 18 on the die. That's a 31. Don't forget you have the plus 10 past without trace.
That's a 4 on the die, so that's going to be a 16.
17.
So, you guys are walking along, keeping to the shadows. But, Carrion, I want you to describe to me how a few legionnaires notice you.
As we are slipping through the shadows, knowing that X has nothing to worry about with his invisibility, and knowing that we are magically enhanced as we move through these shadows, Carrion lets Telmaraine and Ashmodel take the lead, not really sure where X is. And as we move from shadow to shadow, between ruined building to ruined building, she takes at first a half step less, and then another half step less, lengthening the distance between her and her party. I think she deliberately is drawing the attention. Like she's just lingering too long in the sunlight in view of the Legionnaires, drawing their attention. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail with style.
So, everyone roll initiative. We're going to be doing a skill challenge. As you see about 4 legionaries, maybe on a patrol, they see Carrion, and they say, "Hey, stop!" And they start chasing after you. And
My first nat 20 on initiative.
Then shouldn't you have gotten a 17 in stealth? Because 4 plus 3 plus 10.
What?
Didn't you roll a 4? And then a nat 20 plus 3 would mean that your dexterity modifier is plus 3. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you know what? Nope, you're right. My math is bad. That's a 22 on initiative, not a 23. I'm looking going, where is this coming from? No, it was just the number I wrote just now is wrong.
I am typing out the skills that are going to be available to you. So we'll go through initiative, and you are going to tell me which skill you use. There is one attack that you guys can make between the 4 of you. Unless you fail the attack, then it's still open. So
How many were there that are after us?
you see 4 for now. I mean, yeah, if you're trying to run.
I just saw Tyler's chat message. Don't do it. Resist the urge. I mean, she's drawing their attention. I feel like she's going to do something. I'm sorry, guys, but Carrion would take the attack, and it's going to be awesome. Because what she is going to do And I'm going to actually, as I cast the spell, because it is one target, I'm going to use a sorcery point and twin the spell, so it will attack 2 targets.
Okay.
And the spell that I'm casting, ooh, sorry about that, is as she makes a motion, she just spins on her heel rather than run, and she whips her hand around and utters just what almost sounds like gibberish, just Hazuvran! This undulating mass of chaotic energy just shoots toward the nearest one of them. And what I'm casting is called Chaos Bolt. And so I need to roll a couple dice here to determine what this effect is. And then 2 of them are to determine the effect. 1 is to determine the damage. They're both, they both landed on a 2. If you roll the same number on both d8s, the chaotic energy leaps from the target to a different creature of your choice.
So you would hit all 4 because you twinned it?
Well, make a new attack roll. No, so basically I get to... Oh, wait, I rolled damage. I didn't roll the attack yet. Sorry about that. So here's the dice for that if I hit. That's going to be a 24 to hit.
That's a hit.
So the first target actually deals 5 points of damage.
Okay.
And then the energy arcs, and it's actually cold damage. That's what the number on the D8 represents. I have to make a new attack roll, and damage roll for the second target. That's a 13. Does that hit?
No, that does not hit.
Okay, so that's just the first of the twin spell. Because I twinned it, it's going to go for another one of the guys. That is a 24 to hit.
That is a hit.
I told you this was going to be good. It's only going to do 1 point of damage, but it's going to be psychic damage. The second attack from the twin spell just manifests. This energy just goes right into like his eyes and his ears and his nose and does 1 point of psychic damage. So that's my attack action.
All right. Well, that is a success. So that means it is now gone, but you have 1 success under your belt. So, all right. Next is Ashmodel.
Ashmodel turning around and seeing this magic get fired off as Carrion is found out is going to simply nope the hell out and is going to try to use the sand under her to boost her up onto one of the nearby buildings. So that would be the acrobatics.
Okay. Oh, wait 1 second. Okay.
I threw my 1 die, so I used my backup die. It didn't work out very well. It's a 9.
Oh, nope. That does not pass. So that is 1 failure. But acrobatics is still up.
The sands gather around her to push her up into the air. Instead of leaping, the sand just gives out below her and her feet sink deeper into the dunes.
Okay. Tap.
So I'm going to use deception. And let me see if I succeed first. Okay, that's a 16 on the die, and I have no bonuses, so 16.
That is a pass.
So Tal quickly pulls the loci out of his pocket and starts rotating the figures on it. And basically he's casting minor illusion to make it appear as if there's another small group back behind us. We're seeing the guards approaching, the legionaries are going to turn around and run back into the village, kind of almost like we're a split group right now, trying to fool them into chasing us into two different groups.
Okay. Yeah. You see that one of them has veered off. There are still 3 chasing after you, though. Okay. Then that is X.
X is kind of Exsanguinate is kind of thrown off by Carrion's like lack of subtlety. But because he's still invisible for the time being, masked amongst the sands. But there's something that bonds him, I think, to Carrion being a fellow white. And he grits his teeth hard.
Foolish children.
And he breaks his invisibility as he rushes forward to tackle and grapple onto one of these guards, throwing himself in the midst of the fray. He is going to use athletics to try and grapple one of the guards from behind. So he'll stay in invisibility until he gets close, and then just shoulder tackle, like ram him to the ground, kind of stuff.
All right. Give me a roll.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So 19 plus 7, that'll be a 26.
That is a pass.
Perfect.
Or a success. And you successfully tackle this legionary to the ground.
Right. So I just charge up, and out of the dust comes this arm that is just old armor, as old as he is a tiefling, and just it smacks him square in the jaw and drops him down on the ground. And I look to Carrion like,
you are an idiot.
And basically like, run now. Like, do whatever you can to move.
Yeah, and Carrion.
So let's see. Athletics is gone.
So you have insight, acrobatics, or stealth left.
All right, and everybody else is taken off pretty much.
Yeah, except for X. X is right beside you. Or near you. I'm
going to, as we move to get away from these guys, Carrion, it's almost like a game that she drew the attention of these just to antagonize them. She wanted to kill them, but she's going to just kind of almost, she's basically going to flip them off. Whatever passes for flipping off in Crifoth, or an obscene gesture. And she's going to turn tail, and she's going to run toward where the others are going, but kind of dodging around them and almost like springing off a wall to get ahead of them. So I'm going to attempt and acrobatics. Let's see how this goes. That's a +2. It's a 12.
That is a fail.
I imagine as she goes to spring off of the side of this dilapidated building, her first step as she steps up onto it goes just fine. But it's that second step as she goes to push off, the sun-dried and cracked wood and other materials just gives way. And instead of her being able to push off, all of her action is just absorbed by this breaking, and she kind of collapses into a heap, tumbling next to them.
Ashmodel.
Ashmodel, seeing that her predicament is probably not going to get better by getting out of the sand, is going to try to go deeper into the sand and have it almost swallow her up with small holes for her nostrils and mouth to breathe through as she is trying to do a stealth check.
All right.
19.
That is a success. So I imagine that one of you might help Carrion get her leg out of the dilapidated building, and you all run, and you manage to lose them, to lose the legionaries. For now. But if they didn't know you were here before, they definitely do now. And you hear kind of a horn begin to blare, and bells begin to ring, announcing your arrival.
X has heard this horn before. He has been the proprietor of many, or the upstart of many of a slave revolt in his day. Many of an escapist. And he looks to the group, panting now, as they've probably found a small building or something to hide by.
Foolhardy children. Worst decision you've ever made. But keep your head down and fight like hell when they come, because they will come in droves.
And he looks directly at Carrion.
I hope you're ready for what you started.
I would have finished them off if you all hadn't taken off running.
Oh, shut it, you tiny twat. Damn it.
Talon would look at Carrion and pointedly look at his feet. Stealthy, huh? That's what you call stealthy?
I was being as quiet as I could be.
Well,
I can't help it
is
that they
peaceful
saw
kind
me.
of quiet. All the magic in the world couldn't stop them from seeing you.
Well, now they know we're here. That means we'll get to kill them.
Unless they're as insightful as you are stealthy.
I think Carrion's too stupid to realize that you just insulted her. I think that just went right over her head. She probably agrees with you. You're right.
And he looks at X, and I like they bet they share a look, like, really? And then he looks back at her. Ay. All right. Well, I suppose there are the tunnels. Unless they're going to bring the ceiling down on our head.
Can everyone make a perception check for me, please? So it's okay. We don't need Chad to roll because Tal, you notice that you guys somehow ran and you are near the building where the Blood Knights are being held.
At least luck is on our side. And I turn and look back at the rest of them. The building is just over that hill. I bet we could see it if we climbed onto this rooftop. Though that would not be wise, as they are probably watching the rooftops now.
As you say that, Carrion's already looking like she wants to scale the building. And then you say it probably wouldn't be wise, and she just kind of stops and comes back down.
And
what are we going to do? Make up your mind.
He would look at Ashmodel, and Carrion and X, but I mean X in here. Do any of you know anything about this fortress? Have any of you been here before? Surveillance, anything?
I'm sorry, what do I need to roll?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you guys want to roll like a history check. Yeah, history check to see if you have ever been here or know anything about the stronghold of Malice.
I'm wasting all my nat 20s on these skill checks.
Except for the stealth skill check.
Okay, not on all the skill checks. I'm just wasting on some of them.
So, Carrion and Tal. You know, you've probably never been to Malice, but you know that many of the strongholds are built very similar. And people tell stories. Other people have done surveillance, and they tell about how things are set up. You know that there are many patrols, and where you are is kind of the outskirts of the stronghold, close to where the barracks are, or the live-in quarters for the legionaries. And though there might not be many, there are a lot of eyes. Children, women, people who are not soldiers. So you have to be very careful, but and Tal, your kind of intuition that this is the building as you kind of crest this hill is confirmed. You know that this is where the intelligence said that this was the place where the Blood Knights are being kept.
Yeah, Tal would kind of look back at the group. Now that I can see the building, I know for sure that is it. That is where we are going. But, and he would basically repeat the whole thing about the barracks and like this is like the living quarters, and that we don't necessarily look like legionaries, so we're going to stand out quite a bit. And we don't look like merchants either. if there even are merchants in Crifoth anymore. So, like, basically, like, we are the sore thumb here. Like, we're going to stand out a lot.
I will. I'll be able to blend in like a slave, I suppose. I could try. But I don't know. They might spot us.
Also, just a quick note, if you guys didn't see in the chat, after that skill challenge, you guys take 2 points of exhaustion.
I'm assuming we have rations. And so you said, like, eating and drinking, like, lowers it by 1, right?
Yes. Yes. And
Okay.
yeah, you probably would have the survivalist pack on you, which has 4 units of food and drink, but you'd have to take time to eat and drink.
And just to double check, our exhaustion threshold is our con mod.
Yeah, minus any type of armor that you're wearing. But I don't think you are. So
Nope.
yeah, just your con
I'm
mod.
magically armored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is awkward, isn't it? Ashmondale has a con mod of +1.
So, I mean, after the chase, I guess we could stop to take, like, some drink, like, eat and drink real quickly. I mostly, I bet it'd be just drinking from the running, because, like, we're probably just, like, from all the heat and, like, just running, we're probably just thirsty.
Would we have time for a quick rest? Or, I mean, I don't know that we want to spend an hour. Or would we need to take that long in order to eat?
I would say that if you just want to take a quick drink, you can go down by 1 point of exhaustion by just taking 5 minutes, 5-minute drink.
I mean,
I think even carrying's not. That's more of like a what do you call it? Instinctive kind of thing. She's not stupid enough to not drink. So I will do that.
yeah, I think Tal, while we're just talking and trying to figure out a plan, would just be like sipping from his canteen. So are there barracks all the way around this, like, building, this keep? Or if we circled all the way around the outside, could we come in from a side where there are no barracks?
Yes. The barracks are not part of the building. They are kind of further east of it. You would be in the eyesight of anyone who was outside if you went in directly through the door that you saw. But yes, by going around, you would skirt kind of the outside of the barracks and be more likely to get through.
Okay. I would relay all of that. We don't have to go directly in. We can go around the outside. The barracks don't completely surround the keep. It's just on this side, really. Poor luck that we ended up here, but we're closer to the building.
However we get in and fix our problem, Ashmodel would say after taking some sips from a skull canteen that she had gotten a while back.
X does the same. He drinks pretty heartily from a canteen, probably made of a bladder skin at this point.
Oh. Yes. That's probably the wisest decision I've heard you make all day. So, very well. You lead the way, I'll follow.
Okay. Very well. And he'd look at Carrion and look down at her feet and look back up at her and like do like this thing. Like, it's you. And then turn and like walk out the door.
And she's doing that. And as you turn away, she's like,
I love it. Okay. So is this more stealth checks that we have to make, or what's going on?
Yeah. If everyone can make me a stealth check.
And I believe Pass Without Trace is still in effect, or is it not? How long does it last?
How long does it? Yeah.
I thought it was an hour.
Yeah, I thought it was too. Let me hurry and check though, just to make sure. I mean, I can recast it if I need to, but I prefer not to. Yeah, up to 1 hour.
Okay, then yeah, you're still good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Tal would take the lead then and move out the door. I think he's kind of doing this like step where I step type thing. Like he's showing them how to be stealthy. So he's gonna take the lead and kind of like he's like ducking down between these ravines, making sure whenever he can there's a bush or some piece of sagebrush between them, something. Just so like and like making it so like they pass but near areas where there's like leftover water drying or something, so there's kind of like a haze. So he's basically just how to stealth for dummies. He's reading them the book as they're walking. So yeah, I guess stealth checks for everybody then. What is with you, Jake?
It's not me, it's Carrion.
You disgust me.
I'm going to continue, Megan. I think anytime, I mean, I'm not failing these. My dice rolls are on, I'm not failing on purpose. My dice rolls are on camera, but when I do fail, I'm playing it off that she's deliberately not being quiet.
Yeah.
I think that's how I want to flavor it. She's like trying not to be obvious about it, but she's accidentally knocking some debris loose or shuffling her feet whenever Tal's not looking.
Can I like assist her? I don't know. I just like left foot, right foot, crouch down here.
Not a child. I know how to stealth.
Then stop acting like one.
I know how to be quiet.
Obviously not.
So
to be quiet. Be quiet.
you guys are at the door. And Carrion, I imagine maybe you kick something, maybe the side of the building with your little talon feet, and it creates kind of a reverberating sound. And you see you see 10 legionaries kind of just happen. You hear the voice. There they are! And they start running towards you. Now you are right by the door, so we won't go into initiative yet. But what would you guys like to do?
I know what Carrion wants to do.
Oh, I know what Carrion wants to do. We've been playing together for like 30 minutes.
How far ahead are these legionaries?
I'd say they're about 20 feet away.
Are they in a big like cluster?
Yes. I would say probably half of them and half are kind of converging together.
How many would you say are within a 20-foot? Let me see what this is. It's erupting. It's a 20-foot cube.
I'd say if you center it around one group of 5, you could get 5.
Because Carrion is immediately going to reach into this pouch, withdrawing some of the blood dust and a small fragment of obsidian as she utters a word and crushes the dust and the obsidian together. And as she raises her hand, not only does the dust and obsidian crumbles rise into the air, the ground at the foot of this group of 5 legionnaires literally erupts into a fountain of earth and stone, churned up, and arises. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw or take 3d12 bludgeoning damage, or half as much on success. And that's going to be a DC 14. And I'll roll the damage.
Let me see how many of them make it.
And that's a spell called Erupting Earth. That's
Okay. Sorry, what's the DC?
DC 14.
So they both make it. That one does. So 2 of them do not make it. 3 of them do make it.
So that's 16 for the failure and 8 if they succeed.
Okay.
And that area also, I should say, I think it's in the full 20-foot cube, becomes difficult terrain. Yep. And it would take 20 minutes to clear that area. That's how much debris there is from all this churned up rock and sand and whatever else. So I literally just raised the earth and churned it. Grinning the whole time. And I imagine just turning to look at Tal as she just crumbles the last of the dried blood and obsidian from her hand.
Yeah, now that she's made so much noise, he just looks at her and shouts, "Do you know the meaning of the word stealth?"
She just shrugs.
That's what I thought.
All right. Everyone make initiative rolls.
I only rolled I don't know, must be they can't see my dice too well, but I only rolled an 11 that time. Connor thought I'd roll a nat 20 again.
So which of you between Jake and Connor have the highest dex?
+2.
+3.
Okay. Okay.
Use it for blade lock.
All right, X. You are right by the door. You see that Carrion has kind of delayed the one group of the 5 legionaries, but the others remain unhindered, and they are running towards you. X, what would you like to do?
First of all, mutter a Crofothian curse under his breath. Good Lord, Carrion. Why? Like, why?
Ah, son of a gun. Okay.
He pulls out a long, slender, like old steel blade, and he looks to Carrie and like, what are you doing? They were inches from the door, and he has his hand on the door, and he's wanting to just go in, finish the mission, and then come back out. Like he's wanting to, but he knows he's got to clear the other part of that room. The other group that's coming, he sees them coming. And I would like to, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do guiding. Essentially, I'm going to do guiding bolt. I'm going to take one of them, and I'm going to try to like just cast as much radiant damage through that one that might be leading the charge as I can. And he reaches into a pocket. He pulls out, very similarly to Carrion, this mixture of white chalk and red blood dust. He marks it along his fingers and then marks a sigil on his forehead. It sounds like he's speaking backwards, but he's speaking fiendish. And as soon as he does, he points his fingers directly at the one leading the charge. And it's like a gun goes off, and this radiant beam shoots forth from his fingers as I cast Guiding Bolt toward the center of the crowd. So they have to beat a DC 14.
Is this a dex save?
No, I don't think it's a dex save, but I mean, I think it's just. Let me take a look. I think the stats are that it's just if
Guiding Bolt's a ranged spell attack.
It's a ranged spell attack. So if I hit, it hits.
Okay.
So I still have to roll a hit. Yeah. So that should be 20 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5. Oh yeah, 10. Ooh, cool. 20 damage all up.
Cool.
Because, yep, that was awesome. Because, yeah, so 20 damage just reams through this one. I think it's a single entity, right? If I cast it on a guiding bolt, it doesn't go to multiple. It goes to one.
I believe it only goes to one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how much damage that just did to that dude, but you can help me out there.
Did quite a bit. But he's still running towards you guys.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Oh my good lord. Okay. So these guys, they run up these 5. The other 5 are dealing with Carrion's terrain for the time being. These guys come up to you. Can I get everyone's AC in the chats quickly while I stall and roll?
That's not good.
So the So the one that you hit, Chad, comes at you and tries to hit you once with their sword. And you kind of dodge it very well, but you don't see that just as quickly it kind of reverses the blade and kind of brings it up back at you. And he actually scored a crit. And how we do crits in Crifoth is they go directly to blood.
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
Go ahead.
snap.
So you get 7 points of piercing damage. Or no, slashing damage.
I'll take it. Yeah. If daddy gonna die tonight.
So the other one comes at you, Tal. Does 6 points of damage as he kind of slashes across your front. But you too do not expect the kind of this upper gut plunge that happens.
Ain't that 20 me too?
Yeah. And that is 5 damage against your blood.
Oh, wait, I might have a cleric spell that I can use to maybe give him disadvantage. A second.
And Chad, if you roll, if you're below half your blood, then yes, you roll in the injury table.
Oh yeah, no, I'm below half my blood. I got 1 left. Good job.
Man, crits suck.
Ow.
So do you have anything? Any reactions?
No, apparently I didn't take it, so no, I don't.
Okay, so yeah, you take 6 slashing just to your grit, and then 5 to your blood.
Okay.
And Carrion, 2 come at you.
Oh,
As they saw what you did to their brethren. The one in his rage comes at you screaming, but he's sloppy. And both of his hits do not hit you. But the other one comes up and he slashes you for 7 slashing damage.
and that comes off of the grit, right?
Yeah, that's just the grit. And Ashmedel, you... The last one comes running up to you and slashes you once, but misses with the other. And you take 2 points of slashing damage. And so we are at Tal.
So are we kind of clustered in front of this door and they're kind of gathering around us?
Yeah, they're definitely crowding you. You are right by the door.
Okay. Well, Tal's like bleeding heavily. And this is not why they're here. There are probably worse things inside the keep that we're gonna have to fight. So he's gonna give us an instant out, a get out of jail free card right now. And I'm gonna cast Wall of Sand, and I'm gonna shape it around us. So basically, I make 30-foot long wall, which I'm gonna circle all the way around the front of the door. It's gonna kind of push them away from us. It's 10 feet tall and 10 feet thick.
Okay.
So I'm going to make this wall of sand around us, separating us away from them and pushing them away from us, getting us out of combat, basically. Because this is not what we're here to deal with.
Okay. So what does this wall do again? Sorry?
Basically, I can create a 30-foot wall that is 10 feet tall and 10 feet thick out of sand. So I shape it around the front of the door, and I'm going to basically just like the ground starts to like pull in all this loose debris that Carrion's created, and all the sand kind of like around this keep is like pulled together and lifts up, kind of like pushing them away from us and separating us out from each other.
Okay.
And I'm putting it directly between us and them.
Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So Ashmedel. Oh, another quick thing. Chad, what did you roll on the injury table?
Very fitting. I rolled a gut wound.
No.
Yeah, I rolled a gut wound. So for those of you who have never played Crifoth, let me just give you a little rundown on what that means. It says your speed is halved. Each hour you lose 1 blood point. This injury can be stymied by someone tending the wound by making a DC 15 medicine wisdom check. If they succeed, you do not lose the blood point for that period of time. So, quick question, Megan. Magical healing, does that heal my blood points or no?
So, how magical healing works is if you spend double, essentially, so double healing hands or double spell slots, you can heal blood.
Okay, cool. So if I were to cast two uses of healing, lay on hands and stuff, I could heal blood. Okay.
Yeah, and your injuries stop when you heal up to full, I believe.
Okay, cool.
So I guess I had to roll 2 then. So what's a 10, Chad?
10 means you got a limp. Your speed on foot is reduced by 10 feet. You must make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw after using the dash action. If you fail the save, you fall prone.
Okay. So I guess he like jabbed my leg or something. All right, nice. So yeah, these runes kind of like grow up out of the ground as the sand pulls together and pushes them away from us. I can't keep this up very long. I suggest we do what we were meant to do and get out.
Okay. So that is so now we're back to Ashmedel.
I'm gonna get really creative here. Ashmedel will hold up her hand in front of her, and she will mutter the word, and she will say, "Show them what you can do." As she casts Fireball on the sand wall to hopefully turn it into glass.
Interesting. That is very cool. Give me a D20 roll.
That's one way to stop Carrion from running through the sand.
Just bangs into the glass.
Turn it into glass. Sand turns into flying shards of glass.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. So your spell doesn't do what you want it to do. And I will let you kind of describe to me how you imagine that it doesn't do that.
So, Ashmedel, thinking that the fire would harden and fuse the sand into glass, didn't take into account the concussive force that Fireball has, and ends up inadvertently blasting apart the wall of sand.
Perfect. Yes, that is exactly what happens.
Keep in mind it is 10 feet thick, so
I would just imagine there's
Fireball
a hole.
has a radius of 20 feet.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah, Fireball is a pretty powerful spell.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Dal finishes casting the spell and he's like, okay, we got some time. Boom! A hole blown in the wall.
Nope.
And he's like standing there, his loci extended, looking at the wall, and he slowly turns his head and looks at Ashmodel.
Carrion just goes, I didn't do it. It wasn't me this time.
And he's just like, we're all going to die. We're going to die.
Okay, Carrion.
This ain't over yet. So you said 2 of them ran at me.
Yes.
If I ran away from them, would I draw 2 opportunity attacks?
Nope, because they are separated by Tal's wall. So I would say that that kind of, yeah.
I'm going to do a thing. How far away are the other ones that are in the difficult terrain?
I'd say they're about 15 feet.
Perfect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw, if I need to, the opportunity attack as I push past them and I run toward the 5 that I've kind of trapped in this difficult terrain with the erupted earth. As I do so, I'm just basically running right up to them so that I'm within a that they'll be caught within a 30-foot. I got to make sure that's radius, or I know it's 30 feet. It is, because this is going to be awesome if it works. Was the last thing he said. Oh, it's 10 feet. Okay. So I'm going to have to run into the group and then I guess like right up to the edge of this difficult terrain where they are and try to get as many of them in there as I can. So I guess before I do the rest of this, I need to see if I even make it away from this opportunity attack guy. Unless you want me to finish telling you what I'm going to do.
No, so yeah, if you want to like push past them, then yeah, I think you would take an opportunity attack. Or 2, actually. So let me... They miss you. They are confused of what you guys are doing.
So yeah, she just kind of suddenly, she has this look like she's going to engage them. And then she just runs right through them, runs towards the 5. And as she does so, as soon as she gets up to the edge of where the 5 are caught in this stuff, she immediately... Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm using another sorcery point to do this as a quicken spell, which is going to turn it from an action to a bonus action. And I'm casting Thunder Step. So basically I run away the 15 feet. I look at them and I just yell, boom. And I instantly disappear and reappear right back where I left. The exact spot when I took off running. But where I left, the entire area resounds for 300 feet. You can hear this massive boom of thunder. But anybody within 10 feet of where I left needs to make a Constitution saving throw. Or they're going to take 3d10 damage. Thunder damage. Half as much on a save. That's a DC 14.
Okay. That is very, very cool.
That is 18 is what I rolled on the damage.
So, yeah, 2 of them passed.
Okay, so they'll take 9.
Okay.
And anybody else that failed would get 18 points of thunder damage. And because I quickened it, it's a bonus action. So as I reappear, now my action is she's going to take her 2 daggers and she's going to stab 1 at each of these 2 guys. It's been a long time since I've done this. So if I'm not mistaken, because I'm not... Oh, wait, I can't because I don't have a bonus action. So I can only attack at 1 of them.
Yeah.
So that eliminates the need to know how that works. So, yeah, I think she's just going to draw one of her daggers and slash at one of the dudes as she suddenly appears in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
We call that a hit and fade. What die am I trying to roll? There we go. So that is going to be, oh shoot. What is that? What is her bonus? So she reappears, swinging her dagger for a 14.
14 does not hit.
Swinging her dagger menacingly. But she did just do this awesome display of thunder, and that's it. As if that's not enough.
Very cool. I like that a lot.
I love Xanathar spells.
Okay. X.
He's bleeding pretty heavily, but he's got an hour. He's got an hour before he dies. Whatever. The thing that X has learned in battle is you don't stop just because you got hurt. And they have a mission. And he sees the group. And I think he's going to take a moment to... I think he's going to take a moment to open the door. I'm going to try to open the door to get my bearings, get inside, to see if I can give us a moment to siphon the rest of the guys through, even though I want to be out there. But I do pull my shield up just in case there's something on the other side of the door that is ready to attack me. I sheathe the greatsword and pull out like this other blade, this other longsword on my belt, preparing for the ominous possibilities.
So you open the door, and all you see is red. And we're going to take a break. Halfway through combat.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm going to get everyone, all my fantastic players, to introduce themselves. We'll start first with Chad.
Oh, shit. I'm dying. I'm literally dying right now. Hi, guys. My name is Chad Nick. I play on this channel a lot because I love Crifoth and I love Dice on Ice. But yeah, no, you guys can find me at Chad Nick on YouTube. I do voices over there sometimes, and I run games and things. I also have a blog called gastrogamer.org. You can check out where I do some accessibility reviews, and I'm also going to be doing voiceover prep and conversations over there too. So yeah, I'm super stoked about this. I am playing Sanguinate or X or soon to be that dead body. You know, like that's what I'm going to be. I love these guys. I'm having a blast, guys. Seriously. Crifoth is my jam.
Awesome. Tyler.
So I'm playing Cal Moraine, the Ashen, very tired parent of the group. He's just the dad who drives everyone around. He's very, very tired of everything going poorly. But no, yeah. So he's a wizard. I'm testing out the Lost Lore wizard class for Crifoth, and I am loving how expanded the spell book is. I am not loving how we can't pass a stealth check, and I'm bleeding from a very serious leg wound, apparently. Yeah, the dad who drives the soccer van, and X is just the grandpa of. Exactly. He's the side seat driver who's yelling at everybody else with him to be quiet in the back seat. No, but it's awesome. This is my first time in a Crifoth playtest. I'm enjoying it. I am scared of what's inside this building if we can't even deal with what's outside of it.
And Jake.
Well, if X is the grandfather and Tal is the dad, then in this family dynamic, Carrion is the ADHD goth kid that there's no controlling.
Oh, she's Wednesday from the Addams Family. That's adorable.
She is. I've never played a character like this that's been so just wild. So this is fun. I am Jake, known around the internet as Mini Terrain Domain or MTD. Pretty much, if you search Mini Terrain Domain, you're going to find me on YouTube. You're going to find me on Facebook, and you're going to find me on Twitch, where we do a D&D campaign where you can actually find our DM tonight, Megan, playing a character Berlinia in the Tomb of Annihilation campaign, Jolt of Personality. I also have started doing some video game streaming. I do a twice a week crafting stream. And starting this Sunday, and this is very important to plug during this Crifoth game, starting this Sunday on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mini terrain domain, Marquise, who is also a player in my Doom of Annihilation game, will be hosting a 7-week Crifoth campaign called The Last 7 Days. And Megan, I believe both you and Connor are playing in that, correct? So, and this is the first Megan's hearing this, but I'm actually producing that segment. So I will be running the stream and running OBS behind the scenes, running the software for you guys. But it will be broadcast on my Twitch channel at the behest or request of Marquise. So I'm excited to be able to kind of Mini Terrain Domain presents more Crifoth. And I'm loving Crifoth. This is my first time playing. So I've talked long enough.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. I'm very excited for that campaign. And then Connor, the only Connor that matters at the moment.
Yes, I'm not the Connor that Jake mentioned. That's a different Connor. I run, as Megan said, my name is Connor. I play Ashmodel. She is supposed to be a hyper-focused badass at the moment, but Lux just isn't on her side right now. I run the channel Versatile Diecaster. There's currently a campaign going on over there called Dragon Hunt. Self-explanatory. And there's some discussion videos. There may be a build or two going up soon. You never know. There's my shameless plug.
Awesome. All right, everyone, take a pee break, and we'll be back whenever everyone's back.
All right, cool. I'm going to go drink some blood, gain some of those blood points back, and I'll be back.
Forgot to mention, everybody, if you'd like to see anything from my channel, from the channel On a Roll, ROLE at the end. Shameless plug.
I forgot to do my thing where I say, if you want to come check out my channel, do that. But if not, just stay here. So there you go. I did it now.
This is the part of the stream where we turn on our cameras while we eat.
I hope you all enjoy the visuals.
I feel like we should have like intermission music playing.
That'd certainly be something to do.
The great thing about playing a game on somebody else's channel is I still get to hang out with Tomiko. I feel like Tomiko comes to just about all of my streams. Tomiko is actually a moderator on the I've made her a moderator on the Miniature Rain Domain Twitch channel. She's there so much. No vino tonight, Tomiko. I'm drinking LaCroix.
So what do you guys think so far?
Absolutely love it.
I'm looking forward to all of us dying.
I'm looking forward to being the cause of that death. I did not set out for Carrion to be this way, but I think just the dynamic that was set up on that rooftop is what kind of led me to playing her failed roles as deliberate drawing of attention. You know, it's a flavor thing, but I like that she's kind of this wild card. She's almost like a Crifothian Harley Quinn, I guess, you know. But when she hits, she's backing it up with some pretty powerful magic.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's cool. I love blood sorcerers, so
I just love sorcery in general. Within D&D, I should clarify that. Not like a real world sorcerer or anything, but you know, I actually forgot because it disappeared. That's why. I gotta look this up. I feel like there's some blood sorcerer stuff I'm not taking advantage of.
Definitely a possibility.
Well, I might have grabbed my character sheet before it was fully saved. So let me go back to where are the sorcerer.
Also, just a quick reminder to people, if you're wearing armor or weapons and someone scores a crit on you, you're able to risk breaking your armor to have them re-roll that attack.
And now I know this. Okay.
Just like to point that out.
I mean, that's kind of a retcon thing. You probably want to point out to a guy that just got stabbed in the gut. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. I see how it is. I'm gonna wreck people now with one blood point left. Oh, speaking of which, though, like if I have a heavier armor and it does damage reduction. Is that only for the grit, or does that go toward the blood point kill? Like,
Yeah, that goes towards blunt.
so then I have 3 then, because I have a medium armor, which would reduce my attack, like that attack, down by 2. So I'd have 3 blood points.
Yes.
I feel slightly rejuvenated. So not by much.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because the very middle of a playtest game is the point to ask a question about your class.
Yep.
One of the benefits of a blood sorcerer and the bloodied conduit is starting at first level, your blood point maximum increases by 1 and increases by 1 again whenever you gain a level in this class. So does that mean I have 7 additional blood points for being 7th level? Because that would like double my blood points. That seems.
Oh,
Yep.
Fuck, that's right.
Yep,
That's
that's right.
Okay, I wanted to double check before I wrote down nearly double my blood points.
Wait, what happened? How'd you double your blood points?
Being a blood sorcerer.
Because it's kind of like the dwarven toughness and other things that give you additional hit points in standard 5e classes. Okay, so
yeah, we're going to be changing around the blood the sorcerer because we want it so that there's more of like a currency between the blood and the magic, so that even though you have more blood, you're kind of using it to fuel your magic.
Yeah, I can see the hints of that where it's listed here that you can use fresh droplets of your own blood as the arcane focus. So yeah, there definitely should be a cost to that.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that concept.
This game ain't looking too good right now because 2 of you are dead to me and 1 of you is almost dead. So
dead to you.
To be fair, the thing that made Ashmodel dead to you was trying to do something cool.
And it directly conflicted with what I wanted to happen. So now we're stuck in a hallway with enemies coming in on either side and nowhere to go but inside of the scary keep where all we can see is red.
Oh, don't worry. We should be fine.
Welcome to Crifoth.
Yeah, I think Talmarain is just going to use the Misty Step ability like 5 or 6 times and just get out of here. Good luck, guys.
Like, peace out.
Screw this. He's gonna pull a hound from the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's just no amount of money's worth this.
In the interim, there's a Crifothian like travel like commercial where, do you like nearly dying? Do you like dehydration? Do you like being enslaved by an archfiend? Well, you too will love Crifoth.
Yeah, everybody's got their own commercials. The Blood Knights are on your side.
Most of the time, as long as you're a tiefling and not any other race.
Exactly.
We're kind of racist anyway.
Archfiends come rolling up, busting out their metal, singing the Metallica or something.
Yeah.
The Legion, are you in good hands?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
We just humanized Crifoth. I hate it. Let's not do it.
It's post-apocalyptic America. There we go. We got it.
Oh God, Fallout Crifoth, please.
Fallout Crifoth, exactly.
Let that happen.
And we could even have a blood bank. Yeah.
Whenever you would like the chuckle fuckery to end, we could.
Oh no, that wasn't like that. Sounded really.
Let's move on.
That was Megan's "These Assholes" throat
You
clearing.
guys are ruining my setting.
No, I was legitimately clearing my throat, and then I realized how rude that sounded. No, yeah. Whenever
It's all right. I have to do that to myself sometimes too. It's okay. It's a good reminder.
All right, so everyone good? Fooded up? All right. So, X, you open the door, and at first, all you see is red. And as your vision focuses in, you see that there are 4 pillars at the other end of this large room. These pillars are glowing in this red light. There are silhouettes hanging in front of these red pillars, hanging by their hands. They have black hoods kind of over their faces, like sacks. You can't quite tell because all you see is their silhouette, but you think that these are the Blood Knights that have been taken.
So X is no stranger to slave punishments. He's no stranger to seeing someone hanged or seeing someone have to be put into stocks, whatever it may be. And seeing these silhouettes hanging along these glowing pillars, he takes a step forward into the room. As he steps forward, does the light get more intense? Can you see more? Or is it like a pulsing?
No, it's a pretty steady light. And as you kind of step in, we're going to go to the next people in our initiative, which are the Legionaries. All right. So, Tal, the one comes at you and hits you once for 2 slashing.
What did he roll to hit?
2 and an 18.
An 18? Oh, I couldn't. Okay, never mind. I can't do anything to that. All right.
Whoops. No, I dropped my d20.
Oh, I did that earlier. That sucks.
Well, the gremlins under my desk have it now. So,
How many of them can fit in this narrow corridor now, since only the front's kind of blown out?
they're all just kind of like cramming in. Like it's not that narrow.
Okay. It's a can of sardines then. Good.
Yeah.
Everybody use your AoE spells. They're all in one place.
Car, you still have the 2 at you. Only one of them gets in 1 hit for 3 slashing damage. Ash, the 2 that were at you, or the one that was at you is still there, and then the other one that was on X kind of comes to meet you and does 4 points to blood damage because he rolled a crit. One of them did. And then the other 2 missed. Or the other 3 hits missed. So that is their turn. And you can see that these guys, the other 5, are coming quickly, so they will be coming next turn, next round. Tal.
So, the way I see it, the only way we're going to be able to peacefully enter this building is by dealing with all of these guys. So, I'm going to cast. You see him kind of pull this this loci again out of his pocket, and he starts rotating the pieces. And he starts to mutter. Originally, what you've heard him say are it's fiendish. He's speaking the language to come upon the touch and to cast these spells using the touch. That is, but this time it almost sounds like a prayer, and it's in a language that maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't. Old Crifothian, and he starts muttering this prayer under his breath, and you see all around you things start to glow and change. And the landscape almost looks like what it might once have looked like. You see the mirage of green grass and a blue, beautiful sky with clouds floating across it. A single flower growing up from the ground. And what he's doing is he's calling upon the spirits of times past, and he's casting spirit guardians. And up from the ground around him, normal humans come rising, wearing priestly robes and carrying scepters, and just immaculately dressed in the garb of the old gods. And he looks back at the rest of the group and just kind of smiles, and you see that he looks almost more human. His horns don't look as apparent. His skin isn't ashen. It's almost like a normal skin tone at this point. So basically what it is the area around him. Let me see. So I call for spirits to protect me. They float around me a distance of 15 feet. So 15 feet in a circle around me, 15-foot radius. All the enemies need to make a wisdom saving throw.
If the save DC was more than a 10, all of them fail.
Yeah, so it's DC 15.
Yeah.
So they are going to take, and I almost maxed out on damage. This is really nice. 8 plus 8, 16 plus 7, 23 points of damage to all of them then. As this radiant light almost starts to like draw them into the ethereal, kind of like pulling at their spirits, separating them from their bodies.
So you said 23?
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
To all enemies. And that'll be it for my turn, and I'm going to back up a little bit. And so whenever they start their turn in the circle, they need to repeat the save. I believe it says repeat the save. Let me make sure. Or did they just take the damage immediately? I don't know. I'll figure that out. I'll just go ahead to the next person.
Okay. That is Ashmedel.
Ashmedel, seeing that the sky has turned blue and the ground has turned to green grass, will shake her head, knowing that this isn't the way things are now. And she is going to cast Eldritch Blast at the closest 3 of the Legionnaires that she can.
Okay.
And it is 2 beams. So not closest 3, closest 2.
Okay.
I messed up that part.
Okay.
Oh god, 1 missed and 1 is an 18 on the die.
Yep, that one hits.
Dealing 5 points of force damage to this
Okay.
not so nice man.
All right. Carrion.
So with all this damage flying around, the 2 that I was engaged with, are they still standing?
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
I'm gonna
they
see
are.
what I can do about that. So I have drawing on the blood sorcery, Carrion claps her hands together and electricity starts sparking as she mutters and gestures. And she's going to use a sorcery point to twin this spell as she reaches out with each hand in a shocking grasp at each of the two guys that are near her. So that's going to be a melee magic or spell attack against them. That is a 12 on the one and a 16 on the other.
The 16 hits.
So I think the one was just a little bit outside of her grasp, and that electricity just kind of dissipates. But the guy that gets hit, it's going to be 6 lightning damage. And it can't take any reactions until the start of its next turn. Wait, are they wearing metal armor?
No.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
They're wearing blood obsidian.
I guess that makes sense. They're legionnaires.
Yeah.
They're so fancy.
Yeah, okay. Cool. X. Your comrades are fighting outside and you are not outside.
I'm not. And as much as I want to be, I hear the battle going on. But I knew I had to get to a safe space. Because if I moved and tried to fight in that, I might very well die. He looks around in this room, knowing that this is ideally the mission. Is there a way I can walk up to these pillars? How high are they so that I can kind of get a sense of the room before I make my action?
So these pillars, they go up floor to ceiling. The ceiling is about 20 feet up, or 15. And these silhouettes are located kind of 5 feet up. Is where the top of their head reaches. As you get closer to them, however, you notice that a part of their silhouette is missing, the lower half. And as you get closer, you see that each of them have no legs.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And they are quiet, unmoving, unflinching to even the loudest sounds coming from the outside.
Damn it all. Oh, my God. Come on. Son of a bitch. Come on now. We don't give up. We're not going to be that way. We're not going to run. And you're not going. We're going to finish this.
He takes his hand and he clasps it underneath the breastplate where he got jabbed in the gut. And I'm going to take a moment to try and heal some of those blood points by doing lay on hands on myself and sort of cauterizing that wound. He takes that dusty, ashy, like powder from his pocket, coats the wound with it, and as he burns the wound shut so it stops bleeding. Fuck. This is why I'm too old for this. This is why you quit. Yes. He gathers himself together, and seeing this, he just mutters, "We were too late."
As you scream out in pain, you see kind of the four of them kind of twitch in their chains. Maybe even one of them kind of groans. And we're going to move on to y'all outside. So the other 5 have gotten to you. Although they look very worse for wear. They have gotten quite bashed by carrion. But Tal.
Oh, they need to make saves, by the way, at the beginning of the turn. Wisdom saves.
Yes, thank you. All of them do. Fail, 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 pass. Okay. Let me just. Okay. That's a fail. Fail. Oh wait, no. The other 5 don't. It's only if they start their turn, right? Or if they move into.
So they start their turn or enter the circle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then all 10 of them are getting this. Yeah. Okay. So 2 of them pass, and 8 of them fail.
So the ones that fail take 18. The ones that pass take half that, so 9.
All right. So right away, as soon as 3 of them enter into the circle, they almost fall instantly. Dead.
So I imagine their spirits are like pulled from them as they're like sucked into the afterlife almost. To what the world should look like.
And the other 2 drop, but they don't seem to be dead. They begin to convulse on the ground. All right. So okay. So sorry, 1 second. Let me keep doing math. Another one dies. Okay. So actually, the ones that are all coming at you, Tal, they all seem to fall. The spirits coming out of them. Carrion. 2 of them come at you, and you get hit twice for 10 slashing damage. Ashmedel, 2 of them are at you still, and they hit you 23 grit damage, slashing damage. So, an update. 4 of them are left. 2 of them are on Carrion. 2 of them are on Ashmodel. 4 are dead, and 2 are gritless. So they are prone and in shock, essentially. So then that brings us to Tal.
Get inside, and I can take care of the rest of them.
Tal would partially listen to you. He'd back up till he's in the doorway, leaving them within the ring of 15 feet still. So I'm going to leave the Spirit Guardians on, obviously. And he's almost smiling as he watches these spirits get pulled, free from these bodies. Because he watches them as they get pulled away, and they kind of revert back to like a human shape in his eyes as far as he can see. And they're reunited on the other side, like loved ones or ancestors in some ways. And just to him, this is a reaffirmation of his faith and his belief in the old gods that they still watch, because he sees them smiling and he smiles too, because he knows that where they are is much better than here. And so he kind of backs away into the doorway, and what he's going to do is, for one of the people who are still standing, how hurt do they look?
They look moderately hurt. Nothing too serious, but yeah, definitely something.
So I'm going to help Ashmodel get out of his encounter, basically. And I'm going to cast Toll the Dead, which is a cantrip, on one of them. He has to make a wisdom save, so DC 15 again.
Okay. He fails.
And okay, sweet. And he's going to take the full 8 necrotic damage. And what it sounds like to him, as he's kind of reaching this weakened state, and he's being surrounded by the spirits, and he's seeing the other side. To his eyes, it would look like, as we briefly move into his sight, you would see a woman and a child, and he would recognize them as his own wife and his daughter. And they're standing on the other side, and they're like waving to him, calling to him. And you just see him start to cry as he just, like, he gives into his pain. He starts to feel his pain and recognize that he doesn't have to suffer through this anymore. Like, there is a better place. And so he just takes all of this psychic pain as he sees his wife and his daughter on the other side.
Awesome. Ashmodel. Are you at 0 grit, or do you still have grit left?
I still have grit left.
Okay, fantastic. It's your turn.
Yep. So I believe what Ashmodel would do is to summon her short sword to her hand, and then that's it. Because summoning your packed weapon takes an action.
Okay. All right, Carrion.
So there's still a few. They've all kind of gotten closer. They're pretty much all around us now, right?
Yes.
And you summoned your pack weapon, Ashmodel, but did you move? Or did you stay where you were?
I stayed.
All right, so this is a 20-foot cube. So I'm going to try to push it immediately in front of myself and Ashmodel, catching as many of these guys as I can, and I'm just going to do Erupting Earth again.
Okay. Yeah, they're all kind of squished in like sardines.
That's kind of what I was counting on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cause this to happen because it's a 20-foot cube, about 10 feet away from us. So that's kind of happening like right in front of us. They all need to make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. Or let's hope for some big numbers here. They will take. Ooh. 29 points of bludgeoning damage. Or 15 if they fail or succeed.
So only one of them succeeds. So
This is another one of those where this rock and earth is just rising into the earth and then slamming back down.
So only one is left standing after this cacophony of earth and sound and all of this comes down. 2 die outright, and 3 are gritless, so they fall prone and kind of paralyzed. Only one stands with shaking legs and looks at you.
And I'm going to stand my ground because I'm not going anywhere until these bastards are dead.
Okay. X.
I think after having a moment to hear the fighting going on outside, I want to go and peer outside. But as my hand reaches for the door again, I hear that sound. And I turn my head. And as much as I want to go outside, as much as he wants to, he's intrigued by the sound. The possibility that there might be a survivor like clings at X's heartstrings. And so he begrudgingly walks away from the door and toward the sound of the groaning.
You see one of them, the one that was groaning and kind of moving slightly, shaking his or her their head back and forth. There's like a sack on their head. And their legs have been cut as you kind of get closer and expect both their legs have been cut off but cauterized.
It's all right now. It's okay. I'm here to help you. I promise I will not hurt you. What did they do to you? Poor child.
And from underneath the sackcloth, you hear a voice. And although you strain to hear it at first, because all they can get out is a whisper, and it's kind of muffled, you hear them say, X, is that you? And then we're going to go to the next, outside to the bad guys. So so the ones that are convulsing, they turn still. Bones or muscles relaxed in the final breaths of death. The one that was standing and staring at you, Carrion, falls. And begins to just convulse as the other two did. Falling to gritlessness. Still alive, but shocked and prone now. and just barely holding on to life. Tal.
So Tal just like smiles basically as these last ones are pulled, away from this terrible place, this hell, for lack of a better word. And he looks down at them and he kind of just closes his eyes and nods. It's not my time yet. And he looks at all of them and he kind of draws a symbol in the air towards them. And it'd be a very old Crifothian rune. It symbolizes peace. And he just whispers under his breath, Sardel Fayasa, which in Crifoth, Old Crifothian, means sleep long and easy. And he turns and walks into the room and sees X staring at this body. And he just slowly shakes his head, just seeing the pain of these people, strung up, basically, desecrated. Just he can almost feel their pain. And nobody else could see it in the darkness, but he cries a little bit. He just shakes his head, tears kind of going down his face. Just the pain of this world sometimes is too much. And he will walk into the room and see if any of these people are savable.
So we're going to go out of combat. Or out of initiative. Tal, do you lift the hood? Or how do you see if these people are alive? There is the one that X is near.
I think one of the ways in which you can tell how close a tiefling is to dying is by looking at their eyes. These eyes that show just how much blood is coursing through them. And he would pull their hoods off and kind of look each of them in the eyes if their eyes are open, and he'd kind of peel the eyelids back a bit to see for each of these bodies if there is any chance of survival. If not, I can choose who suffers the pain of the guardians, who takes damage from it, and for the people who there's no chance they're going to survive this, he's just going to give them a peaceful death and release them in a way.
So you unhood each of these tieflings, look into their eyes. They are all alive, hungry, thirsty, parched, but otherwise alive, just groggy from something. They don't seem to have that much blood loss either. They're warm to the touch. And the last one you lift the hood off of, tell me how you know them. Tell me their name and tell me how you know them.
I think as he pulls this last one's hood off and he looks him in the eyes, surprisingly, Tal doesn't remember much about growing up. He just remembers the wasteland and the pain and how terrible it was trying to survive there. But he sees this person's face, and her name is Wrath. And as he looks at her and she looks back at him, he recognizes her from when he was growing up. Back when his skin was still red. Back when he still partook of the blood. And he looks at her and she looks at him. And they were fairly close friends, not anything special. But it was hard to come by friends to begin with, so they were as close to friends as you could call a friend. And he looks at her, Wrath? You tell me you were sent on this mission? What happened?
Tal, Your skin. And she's kind of like looking at you through these like half closed eyes. But then she kind of smiles and she says, I'm so glad you're here. You're gonna save us, right?
We're gonna do whatever we can. Yeah, of course. But what happened? What happened to you?
We got ambushed. They knew where we were going. We were no match for what came at us. And they asked for information. And when they didn't get it, and she kind of like looks down at the stumps where her legs used to be. You promise you won't leave me.
And he would just nod, of course. But where is Jameron? Where is he?
We didn't see him. I don't know.
And he would look back at the group and look around the room, and it's just like, is it like a spire, like a tower, like a tall building?
No, it's fairly short. Like I said, only like about 15 feet up, and it's just one room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would kind of just like look back at the group. Guys, I've got a really bad feeling about this.
And X, when Tal lifted the hood of the figure you were at, who is this, and how do you know them?
Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. He never thought that he would see this person again. It's a young girl, probably no more than 11, 12, but she's a tiefling. She's part of the knights. But he remembers her from the slave pits. This little girl called Purge. Her red skin has sort of gone pink and pallor from the blood loss. And she looks at him, and you can see that just unlike some of the other blood knights or some of the other hostages that might have steeled themselves, you could see blood red tears had streamed down her eyes. Oh, my child. My dear child. What did they do to you? Purge, it's me. I'm here. My poor baby, I'm sorry. What did they ask of you?
She kind of looks at you with this kind of foggy gaze, and she says, No, you're just another one of the tricks. You're just another one of their tricks.
No. Listen to me. You were there with me. You escaped with me for a reason. I took you to the Blood Knights because I could take care of you. Now, in fact, they took you from me. They will... You can see he's progressively getting angrier and angrier. I promise you, darling, they will get their retribution. I will not allow this to stand. Now tell me,
What did they ask of you?
Before she answers, we're gonna just jump quickly to Carrion. Now that Tal has kind of revealed all of these four figures, you recognize one of them. Not the two that X and Tal recognize, but one of the others. Who is this?
This tiefling has as white as Carrion's flesh is. This tiefling woman's flesh is as red as any tiefling. They are the opposite ends of the spectrum. Her skin, you can see where it's exposed at her neckline or her arms, is hash marks of scars. Her name is Chaos. And whatever power it was that bestowed the innate magics of sorcery upon Carrion also bestowed them upon Chaos. Though Chaos was not a blood sorcerer, she was a wild sorcerer. Though she often tried to fight that innate nature, and the scars that crisscross her body are her attempts to draw blood magic, but could only ever summon chaos magic. Carrion does not care outwardly for anyone. It's no secret that she dislikes everyone. She only cares about herself. But when she sees Tal unhood Chaos, she immediately, anybody that was looking at her would have seen her beginning just those fingers twitching, ready to cast a spell, like she said in the beginning, to just end the lives of these blood knights. But when she saw Chaos, that magic just dissipated instantly, and she runs to her, and she actually is grabbing at, like, kind of like you would run up to, like a child would run up and try to hug somebody around the legs. She's hugging where her legs were and at those stumps. And just, she's angrily weeping. She's not even saying anything. She's just angrily weeping at what she sees.
Yeah, and Chaos seems to be the most out of it of the four. She just kind of barely looks at you, just lets out just this groan, and just kind of, it looks like she is just fighting to keep her eyes open. And then finally, Ashmedel, the last figure. You know this person.
This person is, they are a warlock like Ashmedel, of the same patron, actually. And this particular warlock normally has a familiar with them, but obviously having a method or whatever they chose to have with them now wouldn't make too much of a difference to the archfiends. If anything, they would have tortured the familiar in front of him just to make him talk or send the familiar away. And his name is Jace. He isn't a strong-willed person.
And so Purge speaks to you, X, and she says they wanted to know about the hideouts around Malice and out in the wastes.
Hideouts. Even still, look, I don't care. I don't care if you told them. It's okay. It's all right. Going to get you out of here. Going to get you off of this thing. And we're going to get you help. You understand? I'm going to help you. And then when we get out of here, I swear to you, I am burning this place to the ground if it takes every last drop of blood inside of me. I'm not going to let them do this to you again.
I'm just so tired.
I know, baby. It's going to be all right, though. Okay?
And you can see that he's trying to lift you up and lift you off of this thing, trying to figure out how to get you off without like you dropping to the ground, because you said they're hanging like 5 feet up in the air, right?
Well, their heads, the top of their heads would be 5 feet.
About 5 feet up. Okay, so
yeah.
they're just dangling from these ropes from then. Okay. Okay. So I think at that point then, yeah, I do draw like a small obsidian dagger. I draw a small obsidian dagger then. And I'm gonna try to cut her down just from the ropes, just to give her a more comfortable position to be able to sort of get her bearings. Okay. I take the knife and I slice the rope.
Yeah, you do so. What are the rest of you doing?
Ashmodel is slowly walking up to Jace, and she's just going to grab onto their chains and pull them down so that they're as tight as possible. And the dust is going to climb up her hand and form into her short sword again. And she's just going to try to hack away at the chains that Jace is hanging from.
Talon and Carrion, do you two try to get them free from their chains?
Carrion still clutching at Chaos, seeing the others start to pull them down. X, how do we know what they told them? How do we know that we are still safe? How do we know?
And for the first time, it's hard for X to make sense of stuff. Anything.
I don't know. I don't know, Carrion.
We barely made it in here to get them. How are we going to get out of here with all of them in the state that they are in?
I don't know, Carrion.
We are not. They have to end here.
No, Carrion.
It has to end here.
No.
You can never know for sure.
You're not actually suggesting we do.
You would notice at this point she already has a dagger in her hand, and she's pressing it against the flat of the blade against Chaos's chest, the point precariously close to Chaos's throat. As she's pressing, almost like she's straining to hold herself up.
Carrion.
Look at her. Look at what they have done to her. Look at what they have done to all of them.
That. You will regret it. I know. I know.
You know how brutal Crifoth is. Look at them. Do I have to say it? They have no legs. Ashmodel, tell. Why do you not say anything?
Our mutual master will see to whatever Jace requires. I am bringing him with me. And if you try to touch him, it will not end well for either of us.
But how do we know? He did not tell them. That any of them did not tell them.
Megan, I've got a quick question for you.
Yep.
If there were, say, a large creature attacking the camp, would that give them enough of a distraction to get free? The rest of the party?
Yeah, I think so. Probably. If the creature was big and angry and scary enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Do dragons exist in your setting?
Yes, but in a different way than what you think. So basically, just a Reader's Digest, dragons are corrupted primordials who their hordes are natural things. Basically, what the primordial represented, that is what this dragon consumes. So if you had a primordial of water that turned into a dragon, they make everything into a drought because they are just hoarding all the water. So that's dragons.
So is there such a thing as a young dragon then? Or are they only one age group?
There's only one age group. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming that a polymorph wouldn't let me turn into one.
So it's a polymorph. What are the specifics?
It lets me turn into a creature of the same CR level as my level. So it'd be a CR 7.
Yeah. I like it. I'm gonna say the rule of cool is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? It's late. Let's do it.
Okay.
So you can pick. I would say you can make yourself. If you want to do a dragon, there's also like if you can just imagine like anything, like there's giant worms or beetles or anything like that, right? So
okay.
Whatever you want to do, I'd even let you do. Yeah, dragon would be.
Okay. I've got an idea then. If rule cool is playing out here,
Yes,
I've got an idea that fits my character then.
Okay.
You would see that he would have gotten down Wrath, and she would be on the ground next to him. And he turns off the spirit guardians and looks at the rest of the group. It is more important that these four get out and survive. And that you three live as well. And he looked down at her, at Wrath. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to break my promise and leave you. And he stands up and starts walking towards the door. And he stops and looks back at everyone. My name, it used to be Talon, but I changed it. Talon Lorraine. old Crifothian. It stands for believer. And he walks out the door, and you'd see him twist the runes on the loci, and he swallows it. And you see his body start to shift and change. He grows to be about 15 feet tall, like a normal-sized man. His skin becomes pale white. His horns disappear. And I'm basically going to turn into a deva, which is an angel. So these old depicted creatures from like before the archfiends, before all these things that people used to believe in, his back, out of his back sprout these feathered wings. And as he holds his hand to the side, out of the ground, a mace of pure steel rises. And he starts walking towards the legionnaire encampment. And yeah, you just hear shouts and screams. And the sound of what sounds like clashing thunder.
Awesome. Awesome. The three of you are left with 4 bodies that cannot walk. What do you do?
Ashmedel will pick Jace up, and she'll put his arms over her neck like so, and she will wrap the broken chain around her belt to sort of just hold it there so that she only has to focus on balancing him and keeping his weight up. Then she's going to turn to the other 2 and she will say, Jace is the only one that I can carry. If I carry more, I cannot use an emergency exit.
You see that Wrath is lying on the floor weeping, crying out for Tal to come back to help her, to save her. What do the other 2 of you do?
I think at this time that X has already taken the precautions of getting Purge together. He doesn't take a second thought. Whispering to her quietly,
It'll be all right. All right? This is what we will do. And I promise you, you're getting out safe. Just close your eyes. I don't know what I'll have to do to protect you. You need to close your eyes.
and he takes this shield, right? He takes his shield and he basically uses it and he takes his shield out and he puts it on the floor. And he uses the shield as a sled as he puts Wrath's body onto the shield.
I can carry both of them. But you two will need to protect me. I only have one good arm and a bloody wound in my stomach. I won't be able to do much. I won't be able to get out. Come on. Before they decide to bring the fight more.
I will protect you, but I need a moment. And Carrion, she stands up on her tiptoes so that she can look into the eyes of chaos. She lifts her eyelids to see if there's any sign of the woman she knew as Chaos. Does she see anything there?
There is a glimmer. As she kind of looks at you, there's a faint sense of recognition, and that fire kind of reignites in her eyes. But she's just kind of falls back down, and Wrath kind of leans over to you, and she fought the hardest. I don't know what they did to her. I'm sorry.
But I know what I will do to them. And she looks at Chaos. I will make you the blood sorcerer you always wanted to be. And there's a flash as she severs her artery in her neck with her dagger. And as the blood begins to spill from Chaos's throat, Carrion, who has overcome her demon blood addiction, who does not drink of the blood anymore, drinks deeply of Chaos's blood. She doesn't stop until her white skin, from pretty much from here, like her nose down her neck, down the front of her black robes, is just scarlet as she drinks in the blood of Chaos. And then turns back to Exsanguinate, a fire in her eyes, and says, we will protect you.
He looks at you, and he looks over at you, and there is a distinct look of both fear and admiration that he has never given anyone.
Uh-huh. Good. Well, let's have it done then.
And he starts dragging the sled with Wrath behind him as he carries the girl on his shoulder and the sled behind him, with the two mages in front, basically slinging spells.
So, for time's sake, I'm going to say that you guys managed to get through this compound. The attention that Tal got indeed brought forth the entire Legion. And indeed, Tal fought bravely. And I think that was always his intention, was to just hold them off. And he did that. But he did get overcome by just the demons that emerged, by the amount of tieflings, the amount of legionaries that came forth in droves, overcame him. And you all, it's very slow going. I imagine X could not travel very fast, and I imagine that you guys would have to take turns, maybe pulling at the sled, pushing, pulling, but And about halfway through your journey, Wrath dies. She just closes her eyes 1 minute. The next moment, she doesn't open them. Her chest stops rising, it stops falling. X Purge, about 3/4 of the way back to base, begins to cry. She whispers in your ear, I told them where the hideouts were. I'm so sorry.
You know what? When we were in there, I figured, sweetheart, it's okay. It's all right. Look, I have fought a very long time for very many reasons. You have nothing to be sorry about. We will fight. And I promise you, I will protect you as long as I can. Let them come.
You can hear that his voice is wheezy and raspy, and he doesn't even believe that he might be able to do this. But there's something in her, and then that hope that he brings out, or she brings out in him, that he just says,
look, we'll rest. We'll heal. Crifoth is a wasteland, but we will heal and we will get better. I promise.
And so, do you guys leave Wrath's body in the streets?
no, X wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to leave a body lying there. I look to Carrion.
What do we do with it? What do we do with her? I can't leave her like this.
We may not have a choice but to leave her behind. But even
Fine.
in her death, she need not be in vain. She can still help us.
What are you suggesting, Carrion?
Because we all drank earlier. So we all have room in our water skins. I'm going to cast Extract Water. And I'm going to use the magic to extract the moisture from her body. And I imagine it. At first, you can't see anything. And then as it rises up, you can see the moisture coming from all the pores of the body begin to coalesce. And then as I'm just concentrating and holding this, just taking the water skins and just kind of maneuvering the water into the water skins until they're all topped off. Her death need not be in vain.
So you guys eventually get back to your base. And you know that you are immediately to report to your captain. As you approach your captain, she turns, looks at you. She's tall, with very ornate looking horns. Her hands are clasped behind her back. Ah, I see you were successful in your mission. Where is Tal?
He won't be joining us.
And yet you brought these, and then she kind of looks them up and down, these two that you're holding. These traitors. And she kind of snaps her fingers, and these two tieflings dressed in robes, and you know them as kind of like these higher up wizards, sorcerers. Two of them come and they try to take Jace and Purge from each of you.
Jace will stay with me. He is under my jurisdiction.
Do not worry, Ashmedel. We are only going to give them back their legs, so they are not totally worthless.
Our patron will provide.
Have it your way. But there is a few questions I must ask of them. And she goes and looks at Jace directly in the eye, and she says, "Now I know you went through a lot of pain and a lot of torture, and that's commendable. But I must know, did you divulge any of our secrets? Anything at all?" And Jace solemnly looks her straight in the eye and says, "No, I did not. I carried on the Blood Knight name very well, and I held my honor." Carrion.
While this captain is talking to Jace, I want to, because I imagine Carrion would have stayed close to X and therefore Purge. I want to attempt to extract the vial of the serum that we were given that prevents any information from being extracted. And I want to attempt to slip it to Purge.
Oh shit! Oh yes.
Okay.
So you want like a sleight of hand, or
Yeah, do a sleight of hand.
All right, Purge. Let's see if this works. All right. I'm going to use my Atcon die.
Oh boy.
That's an 11 on the die, and my sleight of hand gives me a +2, so that's a 13.
Okay. I'm going to roll against her perception. Okay. She does not notice. She rolled in that one.
Ooh.
You
So-
successfully slip it to Purge, but she kind of looks at you with these eyes full of fear.
Carrion wouldn't do anything to explain what she's doing. She would just almost like under the pretense of like pushing her hair out of her eyes, pushing Purge's hair out of her eyes. She would just shift her body so that it was between Purge and the captain. And in that moment would tip the glass vial to her lips.
Okay. So you're not giving it to Purge. You're just kind of, okay.
I'm like giving it to her, like putting it to her lips to drink it.
Okay. So you see the captain kind of starting to come over. But Purge at first does not want to drink it, and she begins to struggle. And X, you can feel this.
Yeah. Like, and I'm actually looking at Carrie and like, I know what that is. What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this to her? Of all people, I told her that she would be safe. What are you doing? Like, I'm actually trying to probably actively stop this, but then when I see that I get distracted because I see this happening and I'm like, I want to stop that. But as soon as I see that happening, I get distracted by the captain coming forward and I put myself in between the captain and Purge to try and buy her some time. I'm looking at Carrie and like, what are you doing right now? If you do this, I don't know if I can forgive you because I know what that means.
So Karen, are you still trying to like?
Well, hold on a second, because I think I have a fundamental misunderstanding of how this stuff works.
Maybe.
Because
Isn't it basically like a cyanide capsule?
It's
like
a
you
cyanide
buy it
cap.
okay, so I think because that would change my intent. Because I think if I knew what this was, I was thinking it was just like kind of like the opposite of a truth serum.
Like an anti-truth serum? No.
So that was my whole intent was that, if the captain's questioning whether or not they told anything, I'm actually trying to do a good thing here.
No, so
I can see Carrie just drink the vial.
We've already killed one. We might as well kill more.
We need more water, no survivors.
yeah,
So I'm the only one that thinks I'm doing a good thing. You guys all thought I was just continuing to be like the biggest asshole ever. Okay, so no. In that case, I'll retcon that because I would not. If Kyrian knew what this was, but I think she would still have done everything the same, except would have just slipped the vial into Purge's hand to give her the choice.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the only thing I would do different.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that was my problem. I guess I misunderstood how this stuff worked.
Yeah.
I was seeing the side chat and then I just put what I started to say. I was like, wait, what? No, I'm not trying to kill her.
So in that case,
the point was that Carrion had a bit of an arc and had a little change.
I put myself in between the captain and Purge as she walks toward to interrogate her.
Yeah, so the captain kind of walks over and she looks at UX and she says, I must speak with Purge.
Purge was of my charge. You can speak to me. She has been through much, lady.
That is the way of the Blood Knights.
I understand.
I must speak with her now.
She's a child.
She chose this life.
She didn't entirely choose it. I chose it for her. Look, I know you're going to have to ask her, but keep in mind she is a child. I won't ask you to go gentle, but I can only imagine that she doesn't need to go through more trauma.
So, she says, I will decide what is too much and what is not. Are you going to deny me, your senior officer? I will speak with her now.
I will not deny you, lady. However, I will be present in case she is traumatized beyond being able to speak.
I will ask her now. We can get this whole matter sorted. And she would kind of like walk to get around you.
Right.
And she looks at Purge directly in the eyes. Said, I understand you've been through a lot, but the lives of many are at stake. And if we know that our locations have been compromised, more lives could be saved. We could evacuate. I must know. Did you tell them? And you can feel Purge just shaking. No, I didn't say anything. And she would look to you, X. Did she tell you anything? Did she tell you if she told?
And he straight up looks at her.
No, my lady. She told me nothing.
I need you to roll a deception. What did you get? What's your modifier?
Big old goose egg, but
Wait,
oh,
you
my
rolled a nat
modifier
20 and
Like,
you're asking for the modifier.
Yeah.
not a nat 20. My charisma modifier is a +3, but I have no like skill in deception.
So it would be 23?
23.
Okay. She looks at you in the eyes and she says, "You're lying." You should not protect her. She is a traitor. I cannot accept this kind of...
He starts laughing.
I have been under your command for a very long time. You rescued me from the slaves as I rescued her. I'm not trying to belittle you, but I cannot see this little child be punished for her crimes. If anyone should be punished, punish me instead.
She looks to the others, the other two, Carrion, Jace, and Ashmodel. Did you know that she was lying? That she had told people she was going to risk all the lives of so many Blood Knights for what? For her own insignificant life? Did you know? And she looks at each one of you
Ashmodel would shrug and say, I had no idea.
Carrion.
Carrion with the, I imagine now, drying blood of chaos still across her face and down her robes, holds her chin high and looking up at the captain just says, do I look like I give a fuck whether or not she was lying or telling the truth?
Well, you should. As a blood knight who swore an oath, you should. What has all become of you? What has become of this order? You were the best. And she snaps her fingers. And X, you hear a snapping noise from behind you. And this quick intake of breath. And Purge behind you goes limp. And the rest of you who were facing her, who saw Purge, you would see her neck snap at an odd angle. And she just slumps against the back.
I'm
Of
probably
X.
screwing myself here, but if this is magic, I'm counterspelling it.
Okay. What's counter magic?
Counterspell.
Counter spell?
I can use my reaction to counter a spell that is cast.
But doesn't it matter like the level?
I'm casting it 4th level because that's my warlock spell slot. If it's higher than that, I gotta make a spell check.
Yeah, make a spell check.
Cool. Nat 20.
Okay, just let me look. Uno momento.
Oops.
Okay, yeah. All right. Sorry for that. So she would go to snap her fingers, and nothing happens. And she looks at you, Ashmodel. You are all worthless.
We did as you asked. We brought them back. That was
I told you to make sure they didn't say anything, but we were too late for that now, weren't we? They do not deserve to be Blood Knights. They do not deserve to live. They are cowards. They are traitors. They could not withstand anything. And so they deserve to die. We cannot trust them.
Ashmodel is going to speak up at this point.
Jace said nothing.
I am not going to kill Jace. I believe him. He will get his legs restored. He will be honored as a blood knight. It is her, and she points to Purge, who has dishonored us and who has the blood of so many blood knights on her hands. And so do you. And she points at X. You do not lie to your superior. That is unacceptable.
I have done this for a very long time. And sometimes you have to know, milady, when blood is thicker than water.
Carrion is like she's looking back and forth between X and the captain, like not sure what to do. And when X says this, blood is thicker than water, she just looks down at her front, touches the dried blood on her own face of the closest thing she ever had to a sister, looks at X, not even sure why she was doing what she was to try to protect Purge. She looks at the captain and she just kind of, okay, yes. She's going to cast a spell against the captain.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay.
I know. The captain needs to make a wisdom saving throw. That's a DC 14.
She passes.
Oh, shit. That's not what I was hoping for. She's still going to take some damage. 14, so she's going to take 7 points of psychic damage as I hit her with a mind spike. And as I hit her with this, I look right at X and I just say, take her and run.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The captain
We're all going to die.
The captain just says, I don't have time for this. You have all sullied the name of Blood Knights. We have no place for those like you. You say you made an oath. You say you are here for the cause. You say you want to defeat demons, and yet you cannot do what is right, what is necessary. Do you think that they would give us an inch? No. We mustn't either. Take them away. They will be exiled in the morning. And you see like 15 to 20 just blood knights just come in, block the doors, block everything. They have arrows pointed at you.
So, how long between the Legion camp and Blood Knight hideout?
A day walk.
All right.
I will show you this mercy by not killing you on sight. You will die in the wastes provide food for something out there. And she turns to leave.
Ashmodel will grin, and she'll look around at all of the Blood Knights, and she will say, "But what does killing one of our own make necessary? Is that not what the Legion would do?"
She just kind of chuckles and she says, "Do you not think that we must do what the Legion does? We are not a... There is no loyalty. There is no... Or, sorry, not loyalty. There's no heroics. There's no... You do what you are told. You do what is necessary to win. And if that means you kill other Blood Knights, other friends, then you do it. Because in the greater scheme of things, these lives do not matter. But I said I was done with you. You have been stripped of your ranks, and you will wander the wastes."
In the grander scheme of things, one life is the difference between winning a war and losing it.
Maybe long ago. Not now.
So, are you saying that one life cannot make a difference? Because the three of us and Tal are all living counterexamples.
Tal is no longer alive. Yes, and it was you as a group, not one of you single. I don't have time for semantics. Exiled tomorrow. And she would leave without another word. Even if you tried to talk, she would not hear any of it.
Oh, just trying to sow seeds of discourse. I think it's working.
So, we fast forward a day, and we see 4 or 5 figures on the horizon, kind of reflecting in the sun on the sands as you walk through the blistering heat towards the ever-expansive wastes beyond. And that's where we're going to end.
And that's where the Blood Knight exile background was born.
Yes.
Dude, I am so happy with that right now.
Oh my gosh.
Tal died for nothing.
I almost cast
in his grave right now.
Die for nothing, Tal.
I
You made
almost-
it out alive.
I almost cast Sickening Sphere instead of Mind Spike. And I think that could have changed the outcome because it creates a 30-foot sphere, green aura, that anybody that starts their turn or walks into the sphere takes 4d10 of damage.
Yeah, so
It would have been a lot more powerful.
Yeah, what the captain cast was power word kill, which is a 9th level spell.
Yup.
And
That
so
nat 20 fucking cinched it.
yeah, if you had rolled anything less than a nat 20, like, yeah.
Yeah, because it's DC 10 plus the spell's level.
So 19.
Oh my gosh.
The one nat 20 that mattered.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I like the challenges, the moral quandaries, just the setting of Crifoth. You know, this being my first foray into Crifoth. I feel like I'm the only one that this is my first foray into.
No, Tyler too.
No, first time.
Really? I thought you'd been playing in it. So yeah, I mean, I really liked it. This was a stretch for me to play this type of character. And I was trying to play her arc up at the end there, that she had kind of drawn an attachment to her friends, where at the beginning she was willing to do whatever to get the mission done. And there's a good chance if she'd have been the first through the door, she would have killed all 4 of them right off the bat. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yep.
This was awesome. Tamiko says no one died. I guess she forgot about Tal's sacrifice.
Yeah, wow.
Thanks,
Tal
No one died though, but Tal did.
But did you guys really survive? Maybe.
Not really.
I mean-
Maybe. Who knows?
Ashmodel was wandering-ish before this.
I kept thinking Ashmodel was gonna like dimension door out of there.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was like dimension door, bam. Everybody leave.
That's what I kept waiting for, was just them to bamf out of there. And
Nah, I decided saving someone's life was more worth it.
Oh my god, dude. That was so cool though. That was so good. Thank you. Like, this was super awesome. I'm so glad that this was like this game at this time. Just so happiness. All the happiness.
All right.
Well-
Well, I'm going to end for tonight. And the stream. I have just a few questions for people who need to go. Then go. Be free. Thanks everyone for watching. We had, I think, up to 12 viewers at one point, and we stayed a solid 8 all the way through, which was awesome.
yeah. Yeah. That
So
was awesome.
thank you everyone, and everyone who watches it in the future. Thank you to my wonderful players. You guys are amazing. I knew that you would bring the RP so I could throw some of this non-mechanical but still difficult decisions at you guys, and you guys would just run with it, and you did that, and it was amazing. So thank you. And yeah, once this video goes up, I will link all their YouTube videos in the description, and I will also link where you can find the free Crifoth 2.0 playtest if you are interested in playing it.
And don't forget that Megan and Connor will be playing in Marquise's the last 7 days Crifoth campaign on twitch.tv/mini terrain domain, starting this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Not this Connor.
Other Connor. Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to check that out. It is going to be gruesome. So, thank you, and have a good night, everyone.